So with all the projects that we do and taking apart of trucks and all that, you would think I'd go to the scrapyard a lot or take a lot of stuff to scrap, and I really don't. I try to use as much as possible. And this is the frame from the truck that I pulled the LS motor out for that C10 engine swap that I did. And you know, I'm not a Chevy guy, and I'm not a half-ton guy, which is what this frame is. This was a standard cab short bed frame. I put it up for sale, and I've had absolutely zero interest in it. It's actually still in good condition. The crossbars that are usually rotted out are in good shape, but there's been absolutely no interest. And some of you are probably in states that don't have rust, but this is actually a nice frame for this year truck, being an 03, I think it was, in Ohio. But I had no interest, so I gave it a good effort, but now it's time to just cut it apart. So we're going to take torches today, and we're just going to cut. These are my plugs for my fuel tanks. We're going to cut this thing apart completely and throw it in the scrap pile. I start to pile things up that I'm going to cut up. No, these are not getting cut up, but this lift gate back here, I'm going to be cutting that up too. I'm not taking it to scrap, but I'm just going to condense it, because, you know, there's things like this that end up coming in real handy when you're doing fabrication work. I mean, that's a piece of 4-inch channel. This is a piece of flat bar that's been bent around, but has flat bar in the middle. Some pivot pins, roll pins, some box tubing. You know, there's more here than you might realize. But the stuff that I know I won't use, like this frame, I just cut it apart, throw it in the scrap pile, send it in the scrapyard. I'll take all the plastic off, try and get as much as we can out of it. It won't be much, it doesn't weigh a lot. But the scrapyard wants this in a 3-foot by 3-foot square. So looks like I'll be cutting for a little while. Well, that is it. It is reduced to a little bitty pile of crud. I just cut it right where it was laying, let it fall. Sure didn't end up with much. Cut the leaf springs too. I don't know if that's necessary. Look what happened when I took that apart. So maybe it wasn't in such good shape anyways. So now we're gonna load it up, take it in the scrapyard. Well, it's all cut up. The only thing left is that exhaust, and that doesn't get taken in with the same scrap. So it's a shame there's no value to that. You know, they just apparently just don't go bad. I went ahead and cut that frame loose from that lift gate, because we could probably use that somewhere else. Had I been smarter, I'd have cut them huck bolts loose. Then I would have had 2 pieces of truck frame separate, which is manageable by hand, is what I'm getting at, versus having to use a piece of machinery or 2 people. So this I'm just going to fold up, because there's still a good bit of tread plate here, and there's an awful lot of good steel here. It may not look like it to some people, but it certainly does to me. A lot of good usable steel there, especially this stuff. It's pretty stout. Box tubing there. Anyways, next up is we got a bunch of rotors loaded up on the 450. These are rotors and drums that have been laying around since we did some work on some cars and trucks and stuff. So we're gonna take all this in next, get rid of it. I love cleaning stuff up, especially getting ready for winter. All right, we are all loaded up. We're gonna go cut some firewood. Gonna use the old F450 to bring some home. Just strap it down to the deck. Should build some sides for this out of some lumber one day. So this is how we heat our house. This is how we heat every house we've owned in the last 20 years with slab wood. I think there's 9 bundles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 bundles. And then I keep extra wood years ahead. This is cut last year, and then this over here is cut this year. So that's all sitting there waiting for next winter. So let's get cutting. Well, there's about, how long we've been cutting? 45 minutes? Yeah, it doesn't take long. Biggest problem with this was the band on the lower one was broken, so it started to collapse on me. So I had to abandon cutting the top ones. So, whatever. Just keep cutting. Alright, so that'll give us enough for right now. My chain's getting dull. I've cut, I think, all last year's wood and this year's wood off one chain. So I got it strapped in. We'll see how it holds on the way home. Made it home, no troubles. Nothing even moved. It's not a lot of wood, but you know, we'll cut little by little, bring it over, and then we'll do something else in the afternoon. We cut a little, bring it back, and stack it, and then we'll get some more. Hi, Jeff. Oh boy. Oh, that's firewood. You know what that means?
Oh, that's hot, Dingo. Come on.
Go on. Go on. Another load made it home just fine. We like cutting firewood this time of year because it's not too hot and things start to slow down a little bit and just makes it a little more enjoyable. Usually my wife stacks that in there pretty tight, so it's to be a pretty decent load. 3 rows. Get on strap and get stacked. Load number 3. This time we went 4 rows. We were able to get a full bundle on this one. So now I just got to strap it down, head home and stack it up. Alright, there's load number 4. That is 3 bundles so far cut up. These are pieces of hardwood that are used between a truck frame and a box. And we take off so many boxes, there's always these things laying around. So we lay that on the concrete and then stack our wood on top of them, so there's the wood's up off the concrete and lets some airflow underneath it, so it keeps it good and dry. But let's head home. Alright, so we are all unloaded and stacked. So that is a total of 3 bundles of slab wood so far. Now, these slab wood bundles typically cost in our area between $15 and $20 a piece. When I get them, I typically try and buy a year ahead. So I'm cutting what I bought last year and I'm burning. I've got the next one drying for next year. So this year is money well spent and saved, because the house used to have the propane tank filled 4 times a year to get through the winter season, and that could range anywhere from the high $600s to $800 each time. So, you know, over $3,000 in propane. So these are $15 to $20 a piece per bundle. We already had the wood stove I put in last year. It cost me $400 to get the stove pipe, the double wall, triple wall, whatever that is, and the kit to come through the roof and the ceiling and all that, and then the thing that build the hearth that it sat on. So I got $400 in that. We saved that the first month of heating because our propane went from 4 fills a year to 1. We get it filled in July when it's the cheapest, and it usually lasts us all year long now. So each one of these stacks is about a little over 3 weeks when it's all the way up. That's about 3 weeks of burning. So currently we have about almost 6 weeks, or 18 weeks. 18? No. 18, yeah. About 18 weeks of burning right there. It's not enough because we start heating in November. We go all of November, or sporadic through November. December, all the time. January, all the time. February, all the time. March is sporadic. And then April. So we've got about 6 months worth of burning. So if you figure 6 months worth of burning, it's 24 weeks. 24 weeks, we got 18 right now. If I add 1 more bundle, that's basically going to give us another 6 weeks. So we'd be at 24 weeks. We may cut another one. We'll see. But you figure what this saves us is about, $2,400 in propane. So it takes us, every bundle is about a 3-hour investment from the time that I go get it, bring it home, cut it up, stack it on the truck, unload it on the truck, and stack it here. Every bundle is 3 hours worth of work. So if you figure 3 hours times, let's just call it five bundles, I got 15 hours in there. So for 15 hours worth of work, we're saving $2,400. So, I mean, there is a time of actually getting the wood and taking it in and tending the fire, but we don't mind that at all. I actually like having the wood stove. It's got a glass front, and it's nice and it radiates. It's heat all the time. We just love it. But anyways, cut some more. I had to bring a skid steer over and the mowers for my wife. She wants to mow one more time for the end of the year. and I thought I'd cut a little wood while I'm here. A lot of people talk about slab wood and how it's not good for burning because it burns up too fast, and I agree. A lot of it is, you know, thin. It just depends on who you're getting it from and what they're cutting. And as you can see from this piece here, this is a good 6 inches tall and at least 2 feet wide right here. Of course, that's rare. It's not that common, but you can see here's another piece and some more pieces in here. I mean, just put my hand up here for comparison. You can see how big some of this stuff is, you know. And it's not just that bundle. I mean, they're all like this, you know. A lot of good firewood in here, and we don't mind doing the work. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but it's very gratifying because you know that by doing this, you know, you're saving money on the long run. And I sure like to save money, that's for sure. So let me get cutting. Well, I thought I was done cutting, so I didn't bring the chainsaw, but seems as though I forgot a few pieces, so I'll have to come back and get them. Alright, so we're back to cut up the rest of this because we're almost done cutting wood so far this year. We're going to hold off. We need more, we'll cut more as time goes on, but we're into November now and we're sitting good for wood. And we also have some big chunks that we're going to be cutting up too, so let's get to work. So this is a pile of wood from the sawmill that I got last year, and it's plenty dry. Some of it is already cut to good lengths, other of it I have to cut it down, so that'll be next. This will make a nice load. I cleaned that up pretty good. That stuff's just a little too far gone. Probably rotted to begin with, and it was on the bottom, but made for a pretty healthy load. A decent load. Definitely worth the trip. So now we'll head home and unload it. Alright, so we are unloaded and all stacked, and this is what we end up with. This great big stack here. This is like overnight burning stuff because it's a little bit bigger chunks. We kind of like to keep that separated. Then we end up with, I think it was 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. Something like that. Rows. 14 feet this way, 10 foot that way. Oh, right around 4 feet tall. About 4 feet. So that should be enough to get us through the winter. If not, we'll cut a little more, but that's how we heat our house for, about $60 a year. Doesn't cost us very much, but yeah, it's a little bit of work, but we don't mind. I love saving money. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.